So, good evening and welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Unforced Error. We are here Sunday, the 12th of March. We're kind of between round 2 and round 3 of the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells. First few days, I suppose, have been a real kind of contrasting mix. And I suppose those who seeded, kind of get a buy into the second round. So it's only really getting kicking going now. But it's kind of late here Sunday evening, so round 3 is kind of already starting now. So I apologise for being behind. Life has been a bit hectic. But we're going to focus on the point at hand now. So it's been, as I said, it's been an interesting mix between that and the opening rounds of the Australian Open in terms of, some people coming in with injuries and we weren't sure about have kind of coasted through, and then others who we would have expected a lot more of. There's been a few shocks, which there often is in the kind of opening rounds, and especially Indian Wells. There, through the years, there has been kind of upsets because it's kind of that period in the year. People are getting ready for the clay court season. It's a weird mix, and depending on the weather, and surprisingly enough, there has been bit of rain this week as well, so things have been kind of pushed around, so the conditions aren't kind of typical of Indian Wells kind of in the years gone past. So we're just going to do a small bit of analysis here this evening. We're just going to pick one game from the men's and one game from the women's, just to try and break down one or two things, try and figure it all out. So here I'm going to focus on a fascinating matchup last night between the two Americans, the reigning champion Taylor Fritz and the young American Ben Shelton. It was a fascinating matchup. I suppose Taylor Fritz was seeded, obviously, so I think he's ranked 5 in the world. So he this was his first game, and Ben Shelton, who we talked a lot about in the Australian Open, we're going to be really interested to see how he gets back on home soil. So a really interesting matchup, a really great game, one of the highest quality games I've seen this year, and Taylor Fritz eventually won in 3 sets. But I just wanted to have a quick look at Ben Shelton, despite the fact that he lost, and try and kind of demonstrate what's so exciting about him. So here we're in the third set, so Ben Shelton won the first set. Taylor Fritz came back strongly in the second. Taylor Fritz holds the serve in the first game of the third, and here we are. Ben Shelton's going to serve. It's 30 all. He's under pressure, and let's see what's exciting. So there's 2 things to watch out for here. I believe these 2 points coming up now kind of demonstrate what's so exciting about him. A, his aggressiveness coming towards the net, and at the top of his serve, he's kind of got a funny serve. He kind of snaps it at the top. I don't know how great you'll be able to see it from here, but and B, then his touch. So he's got this combination, like he's quick, he's aggressive coming into the net, he can hit the ball hard, but he's also got a great touch. So we're just going to watch here and see what we can see. So here, straight away, hits the serve down towards the line, comes straight up, and this is a point in the game where Taylor Fritz has some momentum, so that's why it kind of stuck out as me. And I just want to say, this is on Prime Video. I'm not sure if this is going to get copyrighted or what story is there, but I just wanted to point out 1 or 2 things, and a lot of great reporters, live life on the edge here, so hopefully we won't get done for that. But let's just watch this point here. And it's that shot there, the reflex to come back and to kind of curve it down the line. So he comes up to the net, still has the ability to adjust in real time and kind of have that lighter touch down the line. Now here, it's 40-30. This is a big game, like the games have been going so quick. I think we're only an hour and a half in here, and we've got like 2 like average long sets here, so watch out. So he's actually going to miss his first serve here, but he's going to hit it down the line. It's what he does in his second serve. It's the kind of attitude here that he is so impressive about him. So he misses, and he misses by a good yard, and that's kind of important, and Fritz is really getting into it. Can I identify a break opportunity? And this is a point in the game where Taylor Fritz we'll just watch this point. Yeah, down the line again, and then forces the unforced error. So that's a point in the game as well where, Taylor Fritz in one of the earlier shots had just read. He had come up to net Ben Shelton, and Taylor Fritz had kind of curled it round it. But it's the ability, the confidence to come forward, stick to your game plan, and it's that impressive touch there we saw in the first shot. So that's why I think, despite the loss, Taylor Fritz was played amazing. We're going to see a lot of Ben Shelton once we don't heap too much pressure on him. So now, next up, we're going to talk about this great woman right here, Aryna Sabalenka, and I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk about her, but I just want to show 2 points. So she played Rodina in the second round, but her first round, because the seas went through, she won easy enough. But I just kind of want to try and pick out two shots, same with Shelton, to just demonstrates kind of why it's so entertaining to watch them. So here we are, we're at the start of the second set. She won the first set easy enough, but in this game now, it's at deuce. She's had multiple unforced errors, and you can really see her, that old thing I talked about in the Australian Open final, of her trying to stay calm. She's still being brave, she's still trying to hit the big shots, but it's her control, her ability to reassess and get back on it, that's so impressive. So I just want to, for the first shot here, she misses her first serve. I just want to watch how much she misses her first serve by, and what she does with the second serve. So I'm just going to play it here. Hopefully you can see that. So here we go. And she just... Sorry, no. So that first serve has gone about 1.5 yards outside the base. And look at this now. She's trying to calm it in. She doesn't show much, but it's all happening. You'll see it on the next point as well, a little bit better. And just watch the decision here to go the second shot. The power, and then forces the unforced error and gets back. But look at this, kind of trying to stay calm, deep breaths. But I just thought it's remarkable, and this happens all the time. This is her game. When she misses a lot. But she can be able to put that pressure on when it comes back around again. So we'll watch it here one more time now. This is the advantage, right back down the same way, spreads the court, large wingspan, and forces the unforced error. So that's why she's so entertaining to watch. And I just thought it's games like that, it's players like this, it's players like Ben Shelton as well on the way up, that make this sport so exciting. So hopefully that's a small demonstration. I apologize, I'm a bit all over the place here, but I did think it would be cool to try and demonstrate. So now we'll get back to covering all the other results. So other than that, just a quick few results to run through. As I said, I apologise, as third round is just getting kicked off underway. Sakkari is playing Katalina, and they're currently in a third set. Sakkari won the second set 6-2, and it was 3-6 in the first set. And Casper Ruud is actually a set down, but he's up 4-3 in the second set against Garin, the qualifier. But other than that, I suppose things to note: Medvedev won in impressive fashion, finding his form again, and coming into the clay season. A lot of players have talked about how this kind of serves as a precursor for that kind of middle part of the season, which probably has the two tournaments like Wimbledon and Roland Garros as close together. So if it's time to kind of work things out now, and he's in good form, so be interested to see how he goes. Zverev playing well as well, playing himself into form. Casper Ruud beat Schwartzman, but as I said, he's kind of in the flux now. Rublev won, Huber won, Shapovalov lost, and kind of going through a kind of tougher period in his career. He has made a semi-final before, but just not finding the results that he would probably like. And Francis Tiafoe won against Giron. Jordan Thompson beat Tsitsipas in the biggest shock, definitely, of the first few rounds. Tsitsipas did say in the press conferences leading in that he wasn't feeling as fit as he would like. And the kind of questions are kind of arising as to why you play when you're not fit. But he obviously felt that he was fit enough to compete. But yeah, and he just, I was watching the game, and he just, one of those things, never got going, never found his rhythm, didn't necessarily play poorly, he just kind of lost those more important points. You know, you couldn't say he was injured. He wasn't at the race at all. He just didn't get into his game. But now maybe his fitness didn't allow him to get into the game. And I suppose if that's on your mind and you get into those tough points, you probably don't back yourself as much as you would like. Alcaraz is back and won easily and looked in very good. And he said that the injury kind of trouble is essentially gone at the minute. You know, he feels great. So that's dangerous for absolutely everyone. Andy Murray is still playing incredibly long games and winning them. Although his second game won a lot more straightforward. His first game was won in 3 hours plus, as he so often does. And again, incredible to see him. He's worth the watch at all times now. His grit, and I think he's going to be remembered for this part of his career as well. And I think there's a great documentary on about him as well on Amazon there as well. Sorry, I'm not advertising for Amazon now. It just happens to be a lot of tennis on there at the minute. So yeah, all credit to him. Hubert Hurkacz won. Tommy Paul, the American. The American's going well, as we broke down the Fritz and Shelton game, and Stan Wawrinka won, and Holger Rune won as well. So everyone's kind of there, other than Tsitsipas, kind of that you'd almost expect. But like you said, you know, you were watching for that Alcaraz injury, and there doesn't seem to be any trouble there. Yeah, so then we move on to the women's. Sakkari beat Rogers in 3 sets, didn't make it too easy for herself, and that was one of those games that was disrupted by the rain and stuff. But as I said, she's kind of in the flux now at the minute as we speak. But she said something interesting in the press conference, you know, when she was kind of break points down, when she was 40, low 40 down at one stage, that she felt it was one of those times where even though the results didn't look like it, the scoreline didn't look like it, she felt confident that she could get through. I just thought that was interesting. I've heard that one or two from different books and stuff, that sometimes you know, how momentum is funny, but you know, you look at a score but the player feels like they're in control, and it's just funny how momentum works. I often think in basketball, you know, it dictates the game so much, but interesting that even when you're set down or you're on serve, how that kind of affects your mind and how players can feel. And I wonder, did Rogers kind of feel the opposite to that? It's like, oh, I'm 3 points up, but I don't really feel like it. But yeah, that was interesting. Jessica Pegula beat Camilla Giorgi. She got off to a slow start. Pliskova won. Kudermetova won. Goff won. Iga Swiatek looked incredible form and lost only one game and a single digit point. I think she only lost less than 10 points anyway. What do you do about that? I'm not sure. Maybe we'll try break her down and see if we can figure out any answers next. Raducanu beat Magda Linette in the second round, and she had a great first round as well. So that's a big shock, or that's a shock to me anyway. But Raducanu is obviously feeling a lot fitter than she was. But Magda Linette, you know, I think she's seeded 20th. Will be very disappointed with that, but great to see Raducanu back finding her form, and that's what you need. You know, it's great to win 2 games in a tournament. You know, it really gives you that confidence going forward that you can back it up. Ons Jabeur's back and won. Rybakina and Kenin played in a tight 2-setter. You know, came to Rybakina, played very well, but I think it was a tie break in both sets. And she just found a way to win those important points. And Paula Badosa is back, and she won, and she beat another Spanish lady. And it's interesting. I remember Medvedev said, you know, in terms of the comparisons to clay, because of the weather, sometimes this feels slower than the clays, but it is nearer to the clay than other surfaces. So, you know, the Spanish have traditionally kind of, those people who play well on the clay course, the kind of slower course, have historically liked the desert, which isn't the biggest surprise. But interesting, Medvedev saying, you know, he found it slower at times than the clay. Now, whether he was just joking a bit, I'm not sure if he actually means it. And another American, Pera, beat Samsonova in 3 hours. I thought this was the pick of the first 2 rounds, and played really, really well, and it was a great game. It was a long game, but Pera seemed unflinching. You know, I think she's 43rd in the world, you know, so that's another kind of big shock. So, you know, watch out for her. She got a great serve and just a good all-around game. She moves well, she's got great defense, and I'll be honest, I haven't heard too much from her before. But it's certainly going to be one to watch in the future. So yeah, thanks a million. I'll leave it now because we've got to go and watch the third round, as well as the golf and the Oscars and everything else going on. So we'll leave it at that, and hope the analysis was a somewhat informative, but I will try and get better. The words don't come out often, as when you're trying to break something down, you think it's easy, you think you can identify it, and then when you have to speak it out, but it just shows how complex the game of tennis is. It's all about decision making, and sometimes in losses, little things and points can really show a lot about a player. So yeah, hopefully we'll be chatting to you soon now during the week, and hopefully there's no more rain in the desert, because there's enough rain here in Ireland anyway. But hopefully things run smoothly in the desert, and we're on for a great week. So we're going to get kicking this week now, so stay tuned. We should see some great tennis, and thanks a million.